Hi, this is Monica from Ruby Soup with Pearl Juice, and today I am bringing you another Top 5 Wednesday. And the theme for this Top 5 Wednesday is 2018 Wishlist. What kinds of books we hope to see more of in 2018. So the first thing that is on my wish list is more books featuring positive depictions of interracial relationships. To be even a little bit more specific, I hope to see more books that feature Asian men and white women in a romantic relationship. And the reason for this is because, you know, we're becoming more global and we're becoming more like, people are moving to different countries. There's more expats and, through the internet, we're getting all sorts of connections around the world. And along with this, there's more and more relationships where people from different backgrounds, whether it's ethnicity or race or culture, they're finding each other and forming families and forming relationships. And it would be kind of nice to see literature that reflects this. And especially, I would really appreciate it if there was like positive, happy portrayals of these kinds of relationships, because I feel like often it's a lot of heartbreak. My second wish is relating to relationships. I hope to find more books where a person on the autism spectrum, like a person who has Asperger's syndrome, finds love. And with that, I mean that they can either be the main character who falls in love with someone, or they could be the love interest. And the reason for this is because I kind of feel that we get stereotyped as people that are very cold, very antisocial, and people that are basically like asexual and aromantic. And here's the problem with that. Having a neurodiversity does not automatically make you aromantic and asexual. You could be, but that is not a automatic symptom or an automatic thing that follows from being autistic or on the autism spectrum. And I am actually all for a romantic and asexual presentation. I am really looking forward to a lot of new books that have asexual presentation. So I'm not against that. But I am a little bit kind of hoping that we could break more and more away from this assumption and the stereotype that all people that have Asperger's syndrome or on the autism spectrum are like people that are incapable of forming friendships, or to take it a different step further, are incapable of finding love or being in a loving relationship. So I would like to see that more presented in literature. My third wish for this year is, now relating to the autism spectrum thing, I would like to see more books that feature disability, and I would like more books that have disability representation. This year I read El Defo, which was an Own Voices deaf, hard of hearing graphic novel, and I really liked it. And I kind of thought that, even if I consider myself someone who tries to read very inclusive literature, I've actually read very little books about people that have physical or even mental disabilities. And I would actually like to see that now that we're talking about diversity, that we also take in disability and we would have more literature featuring disability. I am all for that. So just give me all the disability representation. Of course, accurate disability representation that is out there. Just give it to me. And number 4 on my wish list is, now how should I say this? I would kind of like, this is not a trope, but this is like a trend, I suppose you would call it. I would like to see more translated work that is own voices, that comes from different ethnic minorities or groups from different countries. And I'll kind of give a couple of examples to kind of clarify what I mean. Like, for instance, here where I am right now in Sweden, we have an indigenous group called the Sami, and they write in their own language. And a lot of the time, their stuff does not get translated into Swedish or Finnish or Norwegian, whichever country they happen to be in where they're writing about this, or that they actually have some classic works that were translated but then they're out of print. And I would actually like to see more of their work being translated or getting reprints and becoming more available. And relating to that, for instance, last year in 2017, there was this book called Pachinko, which was about Koreans in Japan. And while I do have that book, and I'm really excited to get my hand to actually start reading it, it's not own voices. And there are, in fact, Japanese Korean or Korean Japanese, I don't know what is the term, but there are like people that have Korean descent that live in Japan that have written, but they are not translated. And I would like to see some of their work being translated into English, or of course I also speak Swedish or Finnish, so that would be okay too. And in China, there's a lot of, I think like they have 56 different ethnic minorities, but their literature, like for instance the Uyghur, their literature doesn't really get translated. I would love to see more of their stuff getting translated. There's a lot of other voices out there in the world that I feel like now that we're talking about diversity, we could kind of expand that a step further and start to kind of think about that when we translate, we could maybe try to also translate a little bit more diversely from the countries that we're translating from. Or, I mean, I mentioned the Sami. I think also here inside of Sweden, where I live now, we could also translate a little bit more broadly, even at our own country. And my fifth and final thing that I hope to see more of in 2018 on this new year is books with atheist protagonists or just atheist characters in general. And this actually was a thought that I had when I just came across Emma Books, her video, I'll link it down below, where she was talking about her most anticipated releases for this new year. And she mentioned a book called Heretics Anonymous, which is about a non-believing boy who ends up going to a Catholic school, and he kind of befriends a Jewish and pagan person who are also there. And this kind of just got me thinking about how actually it would be kind of nice, like, that we would see also the different kind of beliefs reflected in literature, like, and because I happen to be a non-believer myself, so I'm going to go with my group a little bit and say that I would really like to read more literature that kind of reflects that or depicts characters that are skeptics or non-believers or just use the label atheist. They don't have to, as long as they just kind of talk about non-believing or skepticism and about how that works. Because I kind of feel like when we get depicted in literature, it's very one note. It's just like that we're like very snobbish and very pseudo-intellectual, and that's, or that they're always male, and that's not, or even white. That's not actually the case. Inside of the skeptic, non-believing umbrella, we have all sorts of different people. We have men and women, people of color, white people, people that are snarky, people that are quiet. And I don't think that this kind of gets really reflected in literature. And I just kind of thought of this because of the Heretics Anonymous, that I'm really excited for that book. I'm definitely going to purchase it when it comes out. And I hope that more books like that will pop up in this year. So that was my wish list for the new year. What are some of the things that you would like to see reflected in literature or represented in literature, or any increase in any tropes that you would like to see in literature this year? Comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Click the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.